Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we're talking productivity and ADHD, and we're going to talk about, a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, I know myself included, have identified or at least been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, because we're all crazy squirrel chasing people out there. And we're going to actually get some stuff done today with a very special guest, Cindy Baker. Welcome to the show, Cindy, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
So I think my computer also has ADHD because it just does not want to record this episode or do anything for me this morning. So let's hope that doesn't get in the way of this episode. I don't think you can help my computer, but you can help me and you can help our audience. So let's dive in with productivity and ADHD. I assume this came from a personal problem way back in the day where you just either couldn't get stuff done or maybe you were diagnosed. So I want to hear that. Where does ADHD live in your life?
Yeah, great question. I was a school counselor and working with adolescents with ADHD, and I thought, I think I have this. So I got an adult diagnosis of ADHD, and looking back on my life through that lens, it all started to click. I thought, okay, that's why this happened, or that's why I reacted that way. And so I was very curious for my own sake, and I wanted to learn everything that I could about adult ADHD because it is a little different. So I just kind of went on this personal growth journey, and I went to seminars and read books and kind of tried different strategies, figured out what worked, what didn't. And finally, things started to click, and I started to put together a framework of strategies and routines and habits, and started to become very successful and helped other people and found it worked for them, whether even ones who didn't have ADHD, if they just resonated with kind of a busy, distracted mind. And so that's kind of how the business started. But it initially started with me trying to help myself.
As most businesses do, right? I think that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship. Out of curiosity, though, because I've always wondered this. I've never sought a diagnosis for ADHD. I know many others who have not. Me personally, I have enough medical issues. I don't need one more diagnosis from a doctor to tell me what's going on with my life. I'll take care of that. But for you, what was the reason to actually get diagnosed? Was it like, are you, this may be a little bit too personal, was it for some sort of medication? Was it just to have that knowingness or what? Because you could technically pursue that path of finding a solution without the diagnosis.
Yeah, you can. And in fact, I have a group coaching program, and I would say over 50% of the people who come through my program have never been diagnosed with ADHD. So there's different reasons. I can't remember the exact reason that I chose to do it. I'm a little bit older. So when I was growing up, no one talked about ADHD. And when they did, it was only in reference to boys, hyper boys, and you put them on Ritalin and stick them in a corner, And so I think it was more just about learning for myself. And I was curious. I was a high achiever, so I wasn't 100% convinced I had ADHD. So I think I just needed that, stamp of approval from someone official. And as far as medicine, I always say pills are not skills. You have to learn the skills, whether you're on medicine or not. That's between you and your doctor. But you've got to learn the strategies that work with the way your brain is wired instead of trying to fight against it. And I'm big on that. I've joined several kind of what they call support groups, Facebook groups or whatever for ADHD. And all they are is just whine fest, you know. Oh, woe is me. I have ADHD and all, you know, everything's messed up and no one understands me. And I don't buy into that. I think we were all created on purpose for a purpose. And the way your brain is wired is something that you need to learn about so that you can leverage the strengths. Yes, you have to work on the challenges. You got to leverage those strengths too. So for me, it was just, I think, more just the knowledge. You know, I just wanted the label so I could make sense of things. You know.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And I love everything you said there because, I mean, I have a personal philosophy that I will share. This is not from a preaching perspective, and I'm not condemning anybody for their beliefs. But for me, I don't take a drug unless it's literally going to keep me alive. It's the difference between life or death. Like I said before, I joked about it, but I have several conditions where that is the case. So for me, it's a very big decision to put something in my body that's going to alter the way it works. I've seen parents of young kids put their kids on Ritalin, and it changes that child forever. And I don't think that this ADD or ADHD is a case that really ever requires medication. Again, my personal beliefs. So I love that you're saying you have to find out how you work, how you're wired, and the skills to overcome that and work with it. I think it's a superpower, to be quite honest with you. The people who really learn how to harness and leverage ADD or ADHD are some of the most successful people in the world.
Yeah.
And I love that you have that approach too. So I'm curious to dive into people you've helped and you've worked with. What are some of the ways you help them first, you know, whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed, first identify who they are, how they operate, and then we can move more into the harnessing those skills. But how do you first start there with people?
Yeah. Well, like you said, diagnosed or not, if you're an entrepreneur, you have a bunch of different plates spinning, and it is easy to get distracted. Especially, I mean, we live in a world full of pings, dings, shiny objects. You know, it's so easy, and time slips away so easily when we're distracted. So, in my program, I do some assessments where people identify their challenges and their strengths, and I educate them on what ADHD is. Again, a lot of people don't have ADHD, but they're wanting help with productivity. So I also talk about prioritizing, and you know, so many entrepreneurs will, will say that they're busy, but they're not really productive. They're not the same thing. And so if you're spending, 2 hours on Canva trying to find the perfect color or font for your social media post, that's not a good use of your time. So I always tell entrepreneurs to pick their three big, high impact tasks for the day, things that are going to really move the needle in your business, things that may not be the easiest things to do, but the most important. And then we talk about delegating and scheduling things, breaking big projects up into small steps and then scheduling them out, and celebrating wins when you do meet the little small goals, But I think a lot of people think that they have to feel motivated in order to get things done. And so I have a lot of little mantras, and one of them is waiting for motivation is never a good strategy.
Yeah,
You
I
have to
like
start first, and then the motivation sometimes kicks in, sometimes it doesn't. So I teach people how to take action even when they don't feel like it. And it's not about discipline or willpower. It's about managing your focus. More than time management, I think focus management is really the key. And there's
Yeah.
a lot
What do you
about that.
find
That's not really,
drains people? Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said there's a lot more I could say about it, but that's the nutshell version.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, as you hinted at before, right? Every person is unique. So I understand these are the common strategies, but every person is going to be individualized. What do you find uh, drains energy from people the most? Is it um, this popped in my head when you talked about what they focus on? Is it the jumping focus from task to task or thing to thing, whatever it may be? Um, is it actually getting stuff done and doing the work? Like where do people start to lose energy where it's then they either have to take a rest, or it's hours or days before they can do something productive again?
Yeah, I ask the question sometimes, and when I'm giving a talk, I'll ask the audience, what is the number one distraction that entrepreneurs face? And they'll name things like social media or, um, meetings, different things like that, email. But it's really ourselves. We create distractions when we lack clear priorities. And so it's important to find your focus zone, like for about a week, track your energy cycles and your mental focus, and find out what your peak time is. When is your focus peak? When does it crash? It's like energy waves. If you ride the wave at the wrong time, you're going to wipe out. And you want to do your most important tasks during your peak focus times. Because if you waste it on admin tasks and email and all the little stuff that people fill their day up with, then you're missing an opportunity. That's like using a bulldozer to pull up weeds from your garden. You need to guard that peak time. And then you do need to have some way to prioritize your tasks. I mean, sometimes I have people just do a brain dump where they just write down everything in their head on it. No organization to it. Just put it all on a piece of paper. And then we go through and we might use a tool like the Eisenhower matrix, where you categorize things according to urgency and importance. And you take 3 of the urgent important things, and those are your 3 big high impact tasks. And if you do those first thing, then even if the rest of the day gets derailed, you've already won, excuse me. And what most people do is they'll fill their day up with the little stuff because it's easier, the emails, and because you think, well, I'll get started on that important big thing after I check my email. And then 30 minutes later, you're researching the history of bubble wrap or something like that.
That sounds like a personal story. Am I hearing that correctly?
Hey, and you learn nothing, you accomplish nothing except learning that bubble wrap was originally designed as wallpaper. So,
And there we go. It was a personal story. I love that.
or my favorite is I think, well, I'm just going to take a few minutes to check my phone, and then 30 minutes later, I'm still watching puppy yoga videos.
Yeah, well, that one I've done that too. So,
But we live in a world designed to steal your attention. I mean, distraction, especially on your phone, there's an algorithm that is on purpose designed to steal your attention and hold it there. So we have to be the boss of that. And I think one of the things that I realized as I got older, that I wasn't just procrastinating, all those little tiny unplanned breaks. I was really giving away my dreams. If I wanted to build the life and the business that I wanted, then I needed to take charge of my focus and not just kind of sit back and hope that it happens, had to be intentional.
yeah, that's man, it's tough when you say it that way. Kind of tough to swallow. Like, do I need this 5-minute break? Well, maybe. I'm not gonna rule that out. I know me personally, just the way that I'm wired, I need either a power nap or just a chill time in the afternoon. That's how my body operates. From 12 to 5, I am a useless sack of nothing until I have that.
Yeah, but that's
Right.
part of your learning about your focus
Exactly.
cycle, and breaks are important. I mean, one of the things that I teach is the focused sprint strategy.
Mm.
So that's when you would take one of those big important things and you'd set a timer for 25 minutes, and you put away all distractions. You tell people to leave you alone. You shut the door. You mute notifications. I even tell my clients to put their phone in the other room if they have to. Put noise canceling headphones on, and just deep 100% full attention to one thing for 25 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. You get up, you walk around, you do what you want to do. And if you do that a few times, you'll be amazed at how productive you'll be. Because you mentioned multitasking before, and our brains were not meant to juggle a bunch of things at one time, because really we're just switch tasking. We're not really multitasking. So we're not giving 100% to anything. We're just halfway doing 2 or 3 things, and we get bored. If you have ADHD, you get bored really easily, and you switch. But 25 minutes, it's long enough to really make some progress, but it's short enough to keep your attention. And I use the example, I gave a talk last week. John Grisham, the author, when he wrote his first novel, he said, I'm just going to write 1 page before work every day.
Mm.
He didn't have hours. He just had a little sprint. I mean, that one discipline launched a best-selling career. So you can get a lot done in 25 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those strategies. I know for me personally, just a couple of things that you touched on there. The focus with the headphones, noise canceling headphones, and working for 25 minutes. I love that strategy. It's there are days where that's the only time I can get things done. I've customized it for myself. I've noticed that if I just look at the time and I say, like, okay, it's 9:30 right now. If I say I'm going to work until 9:55 or 10, I'll round up. I won't set the timer because I'll be in such a rhythm that I don't want to stop at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to cap myself at 25 minutes. But as long as I achieve that milestone, then I can stop and take a break whenever I'm ready. The other thing too is just understanding what tasks I'm best suited for and which ones are just absolutely going to kill me. And you mentioned this before with delegation. If I can get those as far away from me as possible, I do. And there's cases where you can't, and that's totally fine. But work to identify those tasks and get them off of your plate, out of your responsibility, because that's what's going to free you up um, to really get productive and move your business forward. And the last and final thing I'll say is I deleted every social media possible off my phone. This phone is one giant distraction bin.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to set guardrails on myself. I know this with other people who identify with ADHD, and if you have no self-control, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's a weakness and a superpower all at the same time. But that's the part of me where I had to step in and take control and say, I can't even access these things unless I go through a lot of effort that just I won't take, quite frankly, because it's not worth it. But I needed to get that stuff away from me. So, Cindy, this is fantastic. I hope this helps a ton of people. For the people that want to go that extra step and learn how to be more productive, where are the different ways to reach out to you, contact you, and learn more about themselves in this process?
Yeah. Well, I think I mentioned before we were recording that I have a free gift I'm going to offer your audience on how to beat procrastination. And it's called waitnomore.net, waitnomore.net. And my website's cindybakercoaching.com. I'm on Instagram as CBC_Cindy Baker Coaching. I have a free Facebook group, which I think you'll put the link in the show notes. But in the Facebook group, I do trainings, free trainings, at least once a week. So that's a great way to, to kind of dip your toe into my world. But I offer courses and workshops and master classes and things like that. So if you opt in for waitnomore.net, you'll get on my email list, and I don't spam. I just send free tips every Sunday. And then if there's some event coming up, I'll let you know about it.
I love it. Well, I will not be following you on Instagram for obvious reasons that I just stated, but I think the rest of that is phenomenal. And that's super cool about the Facebook group. So yeah, waitnomore.net. It's on the screen. It's in the show notes. All of those links are in the show notes down below. You can follow Cindy, join her on whatever platforms you want to. But Cindy, this was fantastic. I appreciate you coming and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Those of you watching and listening, I hope this helps. Do not procrastinate. Go check out the links in the description to learn how to not procrastinate. It's the chicken or the egg, right? But either way, thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow on another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where guests and listeners come together to grow your business. We want impact-driven entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level in this group so we can all share ideas, collaborate, and grow our businesses together. Go to whatif.com/group, and we want to invite you to join today. See you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.